Frazier and Ali, Tyson Holyfield, Logan Paul and whatever scrub he's facing. We are doing a battle, another boxing match, another duel today. Today we're gonna be firing out, come over here, this beautiful piece of equipment, the Primo round ceramic. We are gonna fire this thing up to steakhouse temperatures, and we're gonna be putting it up against my amazing workhorse, the Traeger Ironwood 650. What we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be putting two ribeye steaks up to each other. Over here, we're gonna be doing a reverse sear from the workhorse, and over here, we're gonna be blasting this thing off to steakhouse temperatures and doing an over the flame cook. We're gonna see and decide right here on this grilling day which one is better. Is it gonna be over the fire cook, or is it gonna be the reverse sear steak? Let's get started. We are full of pellets. We're gonna drop this in. We're gonna plug in our meat thermometer here. What we're gonna do is fire up the Traeger to 250 degrees, and we're gonna reverse sear this steak. Let's go ahead and get this thing fired up. And on the Primo, we are gonna be firing this up to about 500 degrees, and we're gonna be using our grill gun. We're gonna be opening the vents in the top damper. We're gonna get this thing blazing. Normally to get this thing cooking, go about 250, 300. I do about a 15 to 30 second blast. This one I did about a minute and a half. I was lighting as much charcoal as possible. Now we're gonna leave the dome open and let that fire build, but here's what we're also gonna do. We have our new control system down here. We're gonna open that up to 3. And then as we do that, we're gonna open the top part to about 2.5 right there. We're gonna leave this open a few minutes and let that fire burn and get blazing hot, because we want steakhouse temperatures. You can already see the smoke going on the Traeger over here. Let's go inside, check out these beautiful, and I mean beautiful ribeyes. This cook, we're keeping it simple. Of course, we're using some Cosmo Q rub, but check out these two steaks that we have. Equal cuts. I went to the butcher and asked him to give me 2-inch thick ribeyes. These are boneless. This is what they gave me. But look at the marbling on this here. Beautiful. Same over here. Great marbling, good fat. And we're gonna be topping it off with Best Classic Steak Rub. That limited run that Cosmo Q had, I got some. Let's season these things up. Now growing up, I was shamed a lot for different reasons, but I was told not to beat my meat. We're going to pat this down, not beat it, and we're going to pat it down just to make sure that that rub sticks to this steak. Now as the grills are coming up to temperature, we are going to be reverse searing first. I can't cook the over the flame steak at the same time as the reverse sear, because the reverse sear is going to take time to come up to temperature. These are both at room temperature already. They have seasoning on both sides. For the reverse sear, we're both going for a medium rare on both of these. We're going to stick the temperature probe from the Traeger and plug it directly into the grill so I can get a reading on that, and then as soon as it hits an internal of about 115, I'm gonna pull it off, and we're gonna open flame both of these, sear them on both the Primo. Steak number 1, going on the Traeger. Just finished preheating, let's throw it on. beautiful, beautiful. Right there. Next, our temperature probe, we're gonna put through the top into the middle, just like that, to make sure we're getting an accurate reading of 115. That's when we're pulling this bad boy off. The workhorse is gonna do exactly what it does, work and smoke. This thing is already climbing. It's at 400 degrees right now. And as soon as this is done, we're gonna fire both of them over that open flame. Hopefully get that flame to kiss some of that beef right there. It's gonna be magic. Our workhorse steak, the reverse sear that we're doing, has reached an internal temperature of 115 degrees. So let's open this bad boy up and pull it off the grill. Just has that smoke absorption to it, just kind of brown, nothing, or gray, nothing really exciting about it. But we're gonna take this reverse seared and this raw steak here, we're gonna throw these on the smoking, beautiful, rocket powered Primo. This beautiful smoke is going. We're going to burp this because at this hot of a temperature, we could get a backdraft and it burn off, singe off our hair here. So we're just gonna let the air come in, just like that. And then we're gonna hit this with a little spray. Just like that. Now, putting on the reverse seared one first, we're gonna put it right there. Slide that on just like that. Next, we got the raw one, which we're gonna cook again to an internal temp of about 125, 130 for that medium rare. We're gonna put it right next to it. We're gonna hear that sizzle. I'm gonna stay out here. We're gonna keep it cooking until these are done. This is gonna sit, the raw one's gonna sit for about maybe 2 to 3 minutes on each side, maybe a little longer. It shouldn't take long for this already reverse seared one to come up to temp. Look at that. We got fire kissing the beef. So we're gonna flip this one. We got a nice beautiful char there. And we're gonna let that sit for just a couple minutes. Now let's flip the other one as well. Again, another beautiful char. Look at that. So we're gonna pull this down, kind of shut that fire down for just a second, because that temperature skyrocketed with all that airflow coming in. You can see all the smoke coming up now, putting out that flame. So we'll wait a few more minutes, and then we'll pull them off, let them rest for a few minutes with a pat of butter on top to let it melt, and then we'll cut into them and see which one tastes better. Our reverse seared steak is done, so we're going to pull that off and let it go right there. And let's check the temperature of the raw steak here, or over the fire. We're at about 130, which is perfect. So we're going to shut down the bottom damper. We're going to take this beautiful steak right here, put it on here. We're going to close this, close the top damper. We're going to bring that fire down, and while we're doing that, we're going to bring these inside, cut a pat of butter, and let that go on top just to kind of give it some more moisture and some great flavor. Alright, so we've put our pads of butter on. We're going to let this rest for about 10 minutes. Gonna let that juice get back in, let the moisture lock into that meat, and then we're gonna slice them open and do a taste test. So we've let these rest about 10 minutes and we're gonna cut into these, but the first thing we gotta do is, there's 2 parts to a ribeye, and I'll show you here, just a little education can't hurt. This center part here is called the eye, or the ribeye, and this is called the spinal here. Now we're going to separate the spinal from the eye, and we're gonna be cutting in this part right here. This is still very edible. The spinals are still very edible, and it's a great part of the steak, but for this purpose, I'm just cutting into the eye itself. So we're gonna go in with our reverse seared one first, which is this one right here. When we're cutting, we're gonna cut on a bias, which is at an angle, and we're gonna be cutting against the grain, okay? So this is how that's gonna go. You can see how the knife is kind of at an angle right here. Here, come in like at an angle point right here. You see how the knife is at an angle? We're gonna take this and we're just gonna cut through the steak really easily, like so. And do the same here, and the same here. And what that does is gives us a great look into the steak itself. We've got perfectly pink. That's gonna be juicy. We can already see some of the moisture that it had on it and some great flavor. So that's how the reverse sear looks. Now, let's cut into our open flame steakhouse version here. Again, at an angle, and then we're just gonna cut down. Let's see. This one looks so freaking good. Oh, look at that. We can see the grain here. This was the open flame one, and this was the reverse seared one here. Now, these are both gonna taste amazing. I think we may have slightly overcooked reverse sear one, more maybe like a medium than a medium rare. And that's okay. It's still gonna taste good. It's just gonna take a little bit longer to chew. But we're gonna try that one first. So we're gonna dive into our reverse sear one here. And these knives, if you're wondering, these are Miyabi USA knives. I'm not paid by them. This is just an amazing knife. I love them. So here we go. Bottoms up. Those are really good. Had a great smoky flavor to it. It was a little bit more chewy because, like I said, I think we we cooked it maybe a little bit longer than I should have. But now let's go into our open flame one here. And this one, I can tell you, is just gonna melt in my mouth. Here we go. Okay. Reverse searing takes a little bit more time and effort when you are cooking a steak because you want to get it right. Then you have to, if you're cooking it on a pellet grill, you have to crank up the heat and then you got to put it back on. Or if you're going from one grill to another where you have an open flame like I did on the Primo, it's going to cook it pretty quick. So the open flame one, the steakhouse one, it cooked really fast because that flame was hot at about 500 degrees, and you saw it when we left it open. That flame was really kicking up. But in my opinion, you can't beat anything that goes over an open flame. So for me, I'm gonna have to give my vote to the open flame, perfectly cooked steak, just like this. I mean, we'll do it like a wet towel, we'll wring it out here. All that moisture dropping out just from a steak. So good. In my opinion, open flame cooks a little bit better. You can't go wrong with a reverse sear either. Okay, I'm gonna give you each 2 different pieces of steak. I want you to tell me if steak 1 or steak 2 tastes better, okay?
Okay.
All right, here's steak 1. Here, try that.
Try that.
Try that. Try it. You like that one? Okay, here, let's try the other one. Carson, try that one.
I want to try a small piece.
You are, that is a small piece. There you go.
Is this steak 2? Steak 2 is better.
Steak 2 is better? Which one do you like better, Cooper?
Steak 1.
Steak 1?
Yeah, because it's 17.
2? Which one did you like better, Presley?
1.
You like steak 1 better? Okay. Clearly my kids have no idea what they're talking about. Carson does, because he chose steak 2. Everybody else chose this rank steak 1. I'm just kidding. It's really good, but I go with steak 2. Carson, the spitting image of me as a child, chose steak 2. Palmer, our dog, we're gonna tell you which one he chooses too. Well, Even the dog chose steak too. Here we go, bottoms up. We'll see you next time.